everyone, how are you doing? It's a Monday, and you know every Monday it is our business learning tip in as far as tourism is concerned. And for today we have a very interesting subject, and we want to learn how to form or how to create a simple team for your tourism business. Remember, we've looked at a number of tourism businesses, and our case study, well, we can look at a tour company or a travel agency. And today we want to look at what are the key steps that you can probably consider in creating a successful, small and simple tourism business team. Let's look at one of the key things that we must look at before we actually dive in the core of this subject today. Let's think of the size. But we have three forms in this category. We have the small size, could be your company is very small. And you could be growing from a smaller size to probably a medium-sized company, or probably your company is large. And all these will probably require different size of the team and also different departments. But our case study will largely focus more on a small size company. And in this case, because we are starting up, for anyone who is starting up, you really need a small size of the team to work with. For example, you can start with your wife. For those that are married, get a wife, work with her, and we'll see how can you make your team better or successful. But first of all is to consider the size of the team. And different agencies or companies, depending on the size, you can have different departments. But to our smaller size, which is our focus today, we want to look at about 3 key departments that at least you'd love to start with. And one of them would be the financial department or the finance manager. You really need that person to give you a sense of direction on how you earn and how your expenditures. That's the role. The biggest role is actually to understand the income and the expenditure. You need that person. And the other one that probably you need is a salesperson or a sales department. It's very key. Have a sales department, put in the right people. This department is responsible for your sales or for your marketing. And lastly, probably you need to have an operations department. Now, the operations department will definitely carry out all executions, field works, etc., who is arriving, who is departing, who is not sorted yet, all that will probably be. So with those 3 departments, however small you would be, probably you need to have them in. But let's quickly dive in our learning subject today. The key steps of how you can form a successful, simple team for your tourism business. And one of them is probably to identify the duties and the roles. Sit down and find what are the key roles or what are the key duties that Department A, Department B, or Person A or Person B will be actually executing within my agency. We've talked about the finance manager. So write down the key roles. Then when you write down the key roles, of course, you will be able to identify the right person. So having done the key roles of that or duties that you'd want people to do within your company, it will automatically help you to identify the right people and the right departments. You create them. So number 1, we're looking at identifying duties and roles. And number 2, having done so, it is going to help you to identify the right people to serve in those right departments. And 3, train your team. It is very important. I think in one of our learning episodes here, we've learned about the advantages of a well-trained team. Things like saving time, things like quality service deliverance, they minimize errors or mistakes. All that comes with a trained team. So, in a way on how to create or forming a successful, simple team for your tourism business. For example, you're starting up a tour company and you've identified the right people, you must train the team. It's very key. And number 4, be respectful to your team. Trust me, if you want to grow and form a successful team, you must be respectful to your team. Respectful means young, old, women or men, you must respect them regardless. All your team should be equal. You must treat them as human. It's very key. Most employers don't do this, but if you can be respectful to everyone in your team, trust me, you'll have better results. And lastly, motivate your team. Now, think of so many ways of how you can motivate your team, to be honest with you. And for those that have worked in agencies, bigger agencies, at the end of the day, things like a 13th, month paycheck, it's a sign of motivation. Even saying thank you to a person that has really excelled, it is a motivation. Can be a cash bonus or a shopping voucher. So think of better ways of how you can really motivate your team, and in that way you will be creating your simple and a successful team for your tourism business. I hope you've learned something out of this Monday's tourism business tip, and I can't wait to see you in our next video. Keep it right here for more and more learning episodes. Don't forget to share, to follow us on our social media handles, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Otherwise, bye-bye.